Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Alright, we are back with another video. This one is that chapter. Dr. Newlander made his wife's murder look like an accident. Alright, let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead and turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cuddle up with someone special. Let's get a little traumatized today. I decided that feeling it's going to be a traumatic. I don't know. Anytime I pick one out myself, it goes bad. All right, let's get started.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video we are, we are going to our old haunt of uppity New York to talk about a doctor and an accident. Question mark. That's like three of our favorite things. Outside of Syracuse, you'll find DeWitt. Inside DeWitt, you'll find a big old mansion. And a big man. The doctor is in. In on it, though, is the question. And a decade later, do we have an answer? Or just more, questions? That is the question. So, maybe we should give it a go.
It worries me when he gets that excited sometimes.
We are booking it to DeWitt this time, a delightfully old-timey named place in Onondaga County. It's in northern New York and dates back to the Revolutionary days. Fantastic stuff. It has about 25,000 people living in it, most of them well-to-do. It's the well-to-do town outside of Syracuse. It's surrounded by lakes that look like fingers. It's surrounded by some beautiful nature. And it is surrounded by
That was beautiful though.
death. Where isn't, though? But let's talk about one specifically. This story takes us to September 2012. If you can believe that. A call was made from 6916 Shalimar Way. Right therein lies a mansion. But one of those, holy shit mansions. I can't even afford to look at it. I have to avert my eyes every time. That was the humble abode of the Newlanders. That's Robert, his wife Leslie, and their children, Jenna, Ari, Brian, and Emily. Well, Mother Leslie lived there and died there. This was in the very wee hours of the 17th of September 2012, when one of the daughters, 23-year-old Jenna Neulander, she dialed 911.
Welcome 911, where's your emergency?
Okay, 6916 Shalimar Way. My mother, I don't know if she's breathing, but she's laying on the ground in the shower.
Take a deep breath. We're going to get somebody started. Okay?
My dad's over there. He's over there. He's in the bathroom. I'm not in the bathroom.
Okay, so your dad is with you? Can you go to her now and stay on the phone with?
Oh my God, there's blood everywhere.
Deep breath. We're going to get somebody started.
Take a deep breath. We're going to get somebody started. I don't know. I think she forgot how to breathe. All I heard was a chipmunk being shit so violently. No, you know, like one of them little toy like turkey calls you can get that goes back and forth. That's what it sounded like. I can't blame her. I'd be freaking out too. Like go in there and see your mama in the shower floor, blood everywhere. Oh shit, you know? Oh, take a deep breath.
Ma'am?
Oh my God, there's another. My mommy! She's broken!
Hello?
Jenna was alerted by her father. Her father, who had found her mother, looked like she'd collapsed in the shower in her home. Robert, upon discovering Leslie, he shouted at Jenna for help and to call 911. When the police arrived, they found Leslie, she was in the bedroom. The daddy, Robert, he had carried and dragged his wife from the bathroom to the bedroom because he wanted a bit more air space, to do the old CPR. Well, because he was Dr. Robert Newlander. Nothing could be done. By the time the emergency services arrived with their bits and bobs, she was a goner. This was a shock, not just to the family, but to the community in Syracuse as a whole. The Newlanders, they were well known, they were philanthropists. Dr. Neulander, he was an obstetrician gynecologist, and he delivered thousands of babies in the area. He was catching them left and right, but sadly he couldn't catch his wife. 61-year-old Leslie, she fell to her death in that bathroom, in that shower. Robert would say she...
That wasn't funny, I'm sorry. Catch a baby something. I don't think that catch was this. Oh, I'm going to hell.
She had vertigo, so she fell from time to time. And it looked like, she falls, she cracks her skull open on the tiles or whatever, at the edge of the shower. Good night. There was a lot of blood. That was some crack she got. But even Jenna said it herself in that 911 call.
Oh my God, he was blood everywhere.
The medical examiner, upon, examining the body, would later rule the cause of death as blunt force head injuries due to a fall. They would rule it an accident. She hit her head on the stone shower bench in the shower. Sad, but, case closed. But that was the end of the case, then, right? No. What would happen later, I'm talking years down the road, is that the prosecution and the defense would ultimately both try and use Jenna to prove guilt and prove innocence. Jenna Newlander, the only person who was actually in the house when it happened, and the person who made the 911 call. The DeWitt police, when they arrived and examined the scene, they were very surprised to find her in the bedroom, so far from where she had allegedly fallen. And the amount of blood was shocking. Blood was not just where her body had been laying. There was blood on the carpet, in different spots around the room, pooling everywhere. Like Robert, in his attempt to drag her from the bathroom and save her life, he had, it's like he'd given her a good shake. Battering shake, It had even spattered all over the wall. He was really giving CPR. There's plenty of different types of bloodstain patterns. You got drip, impact.
I promise, I really am not trying to laugh. When he's being serious, but he goes straight from being hilarious to being serious, and my laughter carries over. It's not funny, she's dead, I swear to God, I'm not laughing because of that.
Spatters, void, swipe, transfer, cast off, flow, pool, and saturation. Different strokes for different incidents, right? And what it looked like they had here was impact. And with an impact, the harder the hit, the smaller the spatter. And if the impact, her hitting the stone bench, was in the bathroom, why was there impact spatter on the walls of the bedroom? So they needed to solve the mystery of the blood. The mystery was solved by the good doctor himself, who said that when he returned home from his morning jog, he found his wife in the bathroom. He carried her 60 feet to the bedroom and laid her down. Past lots of areas he could comfortably do CPR, but he really wanted the bed. You would think though that a doctor would know it's a bad idea to move somebody who has a head injury or neck injury or whatever. I mean, I'm not a doctor and I know that. Even Jenna was saying it, his daughter was saying it, protesting, stop moving her in the 911 call. But, as I said, at the time, it was ruled an accident. Blunt force head injuries due to a fall from standing height. Those stone benches are the real killers. And I say don't take any chances. But, Shinee. The investigators and the medical examiner, they differed, but the investigators eventually deferred to what the doctor said. Accident. Alright. And Jenna, she backed up everything her dad said. She said, yeah, he dragged her out of the bathroom to the bedroom. He was doing CPR. He had tried to save Jenna's mother. He had done everything he could to keep Leslie alive, his wife. Soon to be ex-wife. Wasn't always that way, though. Bob and Leslie had, for many...
Soon to be ex-wife? Oh, the plot thickens. Damn.
Years, a very loving marriage. They were a strong public couple in the community. They had 4 children, well, 2 were from Bob's previous marriage, and 3 grandchildren. Friendly, successful, the huge house outside of Syracuse, and another in the Caribbean too. Rich, yet unpretentious. They didn't flaunt their wealth. Understated, classy. And Dr. Bob, he was beloved, having delivered half the children in the New York area. A top OBGYN. Leslie, she too had worked in the medical field. She had been a nurse before giving it up to raise the children full time. And as her children grew, she played a major role in local and national charities, rebuilding homes after Hurricane Katrina, supporting orchestras, community centers, and schools. And now, things stopped making sense. I mean, both their stories matched, corroborated, but it was like the 2 + 2 kind of equaling 5. But months would pass and rumors would grow. Rumors about difficulties in the marriage, trouble in paradise. And maybe the whole cha-ching lifestyle they had became more of a womp-womp. See, Dr. Newlander used to have his own practice in Camillus, a town on the other side of Syracuse. He used to back in the glory days, because his thriving practice of over 25 years, it went kaput in 2009, 3 years before the incident. He'd been in an 8-year legal battle with a health insurer. They accused him of, well, basically overcharging the insurer by almost $2 million. He called bullshit on that one. So they went to the courts, they said pick one. And the judge picked the insurer. Ergo, the dictionary told me means, therefore Bob lost pretty much all his patients, right? He couldn't work with that insurer anymore. Nearly all his patients had that insurance, so they left his practice to go to find another doctor who was still with that insurer. The business collapsed and Bob didn't have an arse in his trousers after that. This in turn led to some marriage disagreements. They had been sleeping apart at the time of her death. So that was what the folks were talking about in the weeks and months following the fall. And one of Leslie's friends, close friends, she happened to be the previous chief county medical examiner. Now, she had retired, she'd been a couple of years out of it, but somebody basically asked her, was like, hey, would you mind having you, And she was shocked by what she saw. She couldn't believe this had been ruled an accident. The injuries were so bad, it was like she'd been whacked and whacked and whacked again. She had bruises, she had scratches. This is not like something you would get if you just fell and banged your head off a stone bench. This was like she'd been in a car accident. She'd fallen off the top of the Empire State Building. That kind of injury. The Onondaga District Attorney, William Fitzpatrick, he received an anonymous letter, basically saying that Leslie had been trying to leave Dr. Neulander. Dr. Newlander walked around like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, but people were saying, he's not that guy. So the DA and the previous chief medical examiner decided to talk. And then the house, which had since been sold by Robert, was revisited by investigators. And more blood was found. Again, in places where, what the doctor said was true. How did it get there? Behind the headboard. Blinds on the other side of the room. If he was just doing CPR, he was really doing CPR. Robert, who, by the way, he happened to get, that. Yeah, $500,000. Not bad.
Yes! I knew it! We got the insurance. Yes. We got gypped that one time. It was small, but we got it. We got it.
He lawyered up.
Well, this has been an open secret and a subject of gossip and irresponsible rumor now for months. Dr. Newlander has not been charged with any kind of offense. Apparently, the police think that their investigation is best conducted by leaks to the media. I can confirm that a search warrant was executed at Dr. Newlander's apartment yesterday, and certain items were taken. One thing that the police did not find was their own tail, which they have been now chasing for 8 months. Leslie Newlander died as a result of a tragic accident, and sadly, nothing's going to change that. Dr. Newlander is a wonderful person, as was his wife. These are irresponsible rumors. And they are further hurting his family.
He eventually, over a year after the murder, was interviewed about it once again.
We're going to talk about the events regarding the death of your wife, September the 17th, 2012. We may very briefly talk about the night before, just to set the stage. We're going to also talk about your relationship with your late wife. You were sleeping separately. Okay, what was the reason for that?
We had thought about a trial separation.
Okay. And when you say separation, I assume you mean more than just separate in the house. You mean that you were going to thinking about getting divorced, perhaps?
That was not the thought process we were talking about, and we never did. But we were talking about a trial separation. That's the only thing we discussed.
Do you remember on the 17th about what time it is that you woke up?
Somewhere between 6 and 6:30.
So you wake up 6:30. What do you do?
I decided to go for a run, which I normally do.
It took you about half an hour?
Approximately.
A little less than that. Tell us your best recollection as to what time you got back home.
I would say it's somewhere around maybe 7:15, 7:30, somewhere in that vicinity. I go pick up the newspaper, and then I put on coffee. I bring a cup of coffee to Leslie every morning. She needs a cup of coffee.
Okay.
To wake up, so I bring a cup of coffee to her.
You take it to Leslie in her bedroom?
Yes, I take it to her in the bedroom. Yes.
Okay. Tell us what happens when you go into her bedroom.
The shower is on, the door is locked to the bathroom. I hear the water running, and I place it on the nightstand next to where she got out of bed.
Did you have to open any doors to get to the point where you put the cup of coffee on her nightstand?
No.
Okay. And you say the bathroom door is locked?
No, it's closed.
Okay. Do you know if it was locked or not?
I don't.
Okay. In any event,
You just said the bathroom door was locked, didn't you?
you can clearly hear the shower running.
That is correct, yes.
Do you hear anything else other than the shower running?
No.
So when you get up to that door, Doctor, tell us what you do.
Well, again, I knock on the door, the glass door, and call out to her, and still didn't hear any response.
And what did you do then?
I opened the door to obviously see if she's, just forgetting time. Sometimes she did. And she was laying on the floor.
And did you see any signs of blood?
I basically went into shock at seeing her there. But I reached out to her and I tried to feel her pulses.
Okay, he goes for a 30-minute run. He got up about between 6 and 6:30. He gets back around 7:15. Okay, for one. It takes me more than 30 minutes to wake up, get out of bed, use the bathroom, get clothes on, everything else. And I'm sorry, but before I go for a run or jog or anything, I like to be awake. Like, I don't want to be running somewhere, half asleep, and trip and die. Like, you know what I mean? So he might be one of those people. Well, it's awfully sweet that he brings her coffee, you know. Too bad it was he said the coffee on the nightstand. Was there coffee on the nightstand? Was that in the police? There's so many questions.
The theory that the investigators and the prosecution was going off was that in the wee hours of the 17th of September, you know, while Jenna, the daughter who's in the house, she was fast asleep, she was still in wood in the other room, Robert, while Leslie was asleep, he bludgeoned her to death in the bedroom. Then he moved her body to the bathroom, he dropped her head on the stone bench to make it look like what he wanted it to look like. Then he tried to clean up the scene, he got the murder weapon, he got some bloody sheets and stuff like that, he went off on his jog and threw it away. See, blood was everywhere in the bedroom, except the bed. You know, the biggest thing in the room. Then, when he returned home, he found Leslie and moved her. He moved her against his daughter's protestations because he needed to explain why there was blood everywhere.
Damn.
In June 2014, the medical examiner changed the manner of death from accident to homicide. Robert was then charged with the murder of Leslie. His children stood by him. The trial went ahead in March 2015. Now you might recall this DA over here, DA Billy Fitzpatrick, old Fitzy over here. He was the prosecutor. Do you remember the Stacey Castor case I covered a while back? She was in the Onondaga County. She was poisoning people with antifreeze. He gave her a good bollocking. He's gas, man.
So now we know he was murdered. What are the odds that a guy who's thinking about killing himself is being murdered on the very weekend that he gets killed? It's like Lou Gehrig dying of Lou Gehrig's disease. It's an unbelievable coincidence.
Well, he would now be in charge of not letting the good doctor get away with any of this, but it would be a hard job, right? They didn't really have any motive. They didn't have a murder weapon. It was really just blood spatter. The defense said, well, I mean, it's not exactly scientific, saying where blood will go, and some of the evidence was collected way after the fact. Emergency services were everywhere then at the time of the incident too, disrupting the crime scene, they said. In fact, some of the blood could have come from the EMTs. Like, for example, if they were trying to resuscitate Leslie, blood might have got on their gloves, and, you know, which was then flung from the gloves to the wall. Leslie was also known to have vertigo. She could have fallen. But the prosecution said she'd been hit more than once. If she fell a good few times. She had bruises and scratches, only on her head, and it just didn't make sense that she could fall and hit the edge of a stone bench, and that would cause this. Jenna would take the stand, and that 911 call, it would come up. Mainly because of one thing Jenna said as well, which was this.
Oh my God, there's blood everywhere!
Blood everywhere, right? But at this time during the call, Leslie's body was still in the shower. Bob hadn't started dragging her to the bedroom, so, well, how would there be blood everywhere if he hadn't started moving her yet? The prosecution said her story didn't make sense either. The things she did in the time frame she said she did them wasn't possible, but she stood by her dad. She also said that in the bedroom she saw her dad take off a blood-soaked shirt and toss it across the room. Hence, that could have caused the blood spatter on the walls, right? But the shirt was never found. After 3 days of deliberation, the jury ultimately found Robert Newlander guilty.
Justice was served. There weren't too many people in that courtroom speaking for Leslie, but Leslie wasn't the only victim in this case, as I think I indicated during the course of this trial. But my reaction is one of professional satisfaction that justice was done for this poor woman who spent the last moments of her life struggling to survive from her husband.
Bob Newlander is the most honorable person I have ever met. This case has been a travesty from start to finish. It is not finished. That's all I have to say.
He was sentenced to 20 years to life.
I love my wife, Leslie. and I now and forever have to continue to mourn her every day. Though I've been tried and wrongfully convicted, my family and I are now suffering the pain and anguish of an innocent man condemned to prison. My head is unbowed by the verdict of this court, for an innocent man has been wrongfully convicted. I would not or could not say this if it were not so. I love my wife, Leslie, very much, and I mourn her every day, now and forever.
Well, sweet though.
For a bit. See, one member of the jury was, well, they were found to be being up to no good. On the day he was found guilty, an alternate juror contacted a lawyer, saying one of the actual jurors who condemned him had been texting throughout the 3-week trial. About the trial. About 7,000 text messages. She later tried to cover this up, failed, and the conviction of Bobby was thrown out. He was released on bail in 2018, and in February 2022, trial number 2 began. How'd this one go? Well, much like the first. Though this time the prosecution told of a motive they didn't use before. That Leslie was leaving him. In fact, she was going to sign a lease on an apartment the day she died. Also, some new evidence was that a crime investigator found a piece of Leslie's head on the headboard. Oh well.
For the second time, a jury in Onondaga County Criminal Court finds Robert Newlander.
Did that fool just say a piece of her head on the headboard? Man, bro, you won't kill your wife and continue to sleep in that same bed? You're a sick puppy, Mr. Doctor Dude.
Newlander guilty of killing his wife Leslie, then staging the scene in their DeWitt mansion to make it appear as if she had taken a bad fall in the shower.
This has just been a travesty of justice. My father is innocent, and we're going to have to do it all over again. I mean, the fact that my entire family is standing behind him after 10 years, do you think we'd be with him if we thought he was guilty?
And there you have it. That's the story of Dr. Robert Newlander. I mean, to date. That is, I mean, honest to God, who knows where this will go again? There's already been a couple of twists and turns, but to the point I'm posting this video, that's the story. A tricky one in which the scene spoke more than anyone else ever could. His family stuck by him, and he stuck by himself till the end. His children suffering the most in what they believe is the wrong verdict. Their father never killed their mother. Guess you gotta ask how well children know their parents, knowing them well or not at all. You can see why his kids would stick by him. And in fact, a lot of people stuck by Robert Newlander. They still don't believe he killed Leslie. And the evidence is, you know, a bit dodgy as well, I suppose. In that it's not entirely convincing. You know, it's not definitive, it's spatter. But, Sinead. Dr. Robert Newlander is now Bobby Newland. The Newland being prison. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this whole video with me. Here, go on. I'll see you as always real soon in the next whole video. Until then, though, you know, please.
That was fucked up. I mean, did he do it though? Someone else could have snuck in the house. It could have been a daughter. We don't know. We don't know for sure. None of us was there except for, unfortunately, the lady who died and the person who did it. I mean, it is. It's like all what conjecture and stuff like that. Yeah, it's blood spatter. They don't have a murder weapon. I mean, this could have happened because this could happen because that. You have to be able to do it beyond a reasonable doubt. There's too many what ifs. Too many what ifs for me. Get them all that got sorted out. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, he very well could have done it. Very well could have done it. But you figure being a doctor, he'd be a little bit better at covering up his tracks. You figure being a doctor, he'd be a little bit better at faking a murder, or faking a accident, covering up a murder. There we go. Whatever the shit you want me to say. I don't. Damn. That's damn. All right. If y'all enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed today's video, which I really did, fucked up, but I did, then please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange things to make you laugh, giggle when you're not supposed to, and probably going to give you a special room in hell, then come on down and subscribe. We can all share that room together. Yeah. There's Mr. Bones had a couple of videos where I'm laughing, and it's just like, why? Mike gets me every freaking time, so I am 100% sure they are building me a special room in hell for not knowing when to laugh and when not to laugh. I don't know. It's fucked. It's fucked. All right. Be good to one another. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Damn, Mr. Doctor Dude. I don't know. Too many what ifs. We'll call him Dr. If.